it's right there, and we everybody enjoys that, but we were lacking of a place to admit all of the drivers that were somehow not competitive anymore to do a challenge like a Baja 1000. So we said, how can we make this something that people will enjoy and something that will have a little bit of adrenaline, that will have a challenge, but at the end of the day, they will not be exhausted and be able to have fun the next day and race again. So we planned it at the beginning to start in Mexicali. We started in 2010 to 2013 in Mexicali. The reason, to be honest with you, it was more political because when we tried to start for the first time in Ensenada, Score was a little bit jealous of us starting an event here, and he somehow threatened the government, saying that he will take the race out of Ensenada if they allowed anyone else to do a race similar to what they were doing. After the years, Sal basically got a picture of what we were doing, and he is one of the biggest supporters of NORRA right now. It's kind of amazing. How do you see people changing his mind about what we're doing and supporting it? And that's the magic of off-road racing. It brings everybody together. So we decided to do a multi-day, multi-stage event, always with the idea of making it easy. All the roads that we use are basically public roads that are used every day but by the locals, and to go to school or to go to work, to move from one ranch to the other, and they are not that rough as you might compare to any other off-road race. So we don't have any pre-running, which is our main attraction, because the roads are used only one day for a few hours, and that's it. So we don't bother a lot the local people, and we always take care of them, because we always try to let them know exactly from what time to time they will not be able to use the road because it's going to be dangerous and stuff like that. But at the end, it's also a challenge, a different kind of challenge for the racers, because they know that if they didn't pre-run, well, they won't know exactly how the course is, because they have to navigate. And once they learn how to navigate, they will be safe. So it's a very different animal compared to somehow what we are used to. And it has, in my opinion, it has two different aspects. I take care, and Mike does too, about, I take care of basically the challenge, the adrenaline, the competition. And Pepe takes care of basically all of the social aspect of the event, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing, because at the end of the day, people wants to have fun, people wants to have a good drink, and they just want to relax, enjoy, and get ready for the next day. And I think we accomplished it with the event. The Mexican 1000, like you said, it's a 5-day multi-stage event. It goes the first day from Ensenada to San Felipe. Second day will go from San Felipe to Bahia de Los Angeles. Third day will go Bahia de Los Angeles to Loreto, which is the largest day. And some of the teams will have to drive at night because it's over 400 miles long. So the slowest cars that will be averaging like 30 miles an hour will definitely drive some of the sections during the night. We close down that finish line around maybe midnight, sometimes 1 a.m. in the morning. And we always finish that party around midnight, and Pepe is always coming to us and saying, you know what, we got, how many cars are still coming? Oh, we got 10, 15 cars. Okay, we're going to make some pizza for them, so when they get to the finish line, we're going to give them something to eat. So we always try to take care of everyone.
Well, I've been saying in my my Instagram posts since I did the event that the smiles are legit. The smiles on the participants' faces, the smiles on the racers' faces, the smiles on the starters' faces, the smiles on Mike Perlman's face, the smiles are legit. Everybody's having a good time, and it's because of the hard work that the two of you are putting in and all the other employees and volunteers and organizers are putting in. So tell me a little bit about, of course, I saw the safari class, and we'll go into that in a minute, but tell me a little bit about all the different kinds of vehicles that you can race in the NORRA event, from UTVs to trophy trucks to spec trophy trucks to vintage vehicles, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Tell me all about, and for folks who don't know, tell everybody about what you can bring to this event.
Anything.
Anything.
Period.
The older,
Anything.
the better. Bring it all. If it's old, bring it.
I got something for you. It came out maybe, 2 weeks ago. I get a call from, I think it was Marcus Benham and his brother, asking me if I can open a new class for Vespa motorcycles. And he said, we want to be in the race. I know it sounds maybe a little bit ridiculous, but we would like to test our Vespas in Baja, and I promise we will try to get as many entries as we can. That was the first entry, and then he got his brother to enter, and then we got a German guy that's really interested because he is, I think, the top Vespa accessory fabricator for Europe. And he wants to test out some of the parts that he's building, and that will be the third entry on the Vespa category. So we got a few of them entered already. And when you get people like that to call you and to say, you know what, we would like to do the Mexican 1000, you might say, like when you mentioned your Datsun, you might say, oof, I don't think these guys are going to make it. Or when we had a bike with the sidecar, or the ATCs.
Or the Vanagon.
The Vanagons. That's a really nice story too, because they got a lot of stories. So that's one of the reasons why we try to make this course as easy as possible for people to really enjoy, instead of getting stuck or broken in the middle of nowhere, because it's still Baja. It's remote. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's dangerous. I mean, if you, especially day 3, when you go from BFLA to Loreto, if you get broken below San Ignacio, there's not a lot of traffic going through there. And if you don't have enough water, enough food, and you're not prepared to get there over the night, it might be turning into a dangerous thing. So, but we do have the sweep crews and everybody that's kind of cleaning up the course for us. That will always take care of you and help you during the night.
Yeah, well, on the Baja XL, so that's a 3,000-mile no-support rally from L.A. to Cabo and back to L.A., mostly on dirt. And 140 vehicles from around the world, and 2 guys did it on Vespas. So one guy had a 10-year-old Vespa, and another guy had a 60s Vespa, but with a modern motor and whatnot. And, you know, when you've got your modern four-wheel drive vehicle and you see a couple guys at the start in Vespas, and one guy wore a white linen suit the entire time, is a suit that I think he got married in, over some crash gear, but he wore this white suit the whole time. You have to appreciate the way that people look at the world and say, I'm going to do that event. I thought I was nuts in my old four-wheel drive because it's just so primitive, but mine's a four-wheel drive. Mine's a tool that was made for that, just 50 years ago. Vespas, and I own a 1970 Vespa, I would never think about riding a Vespa in this thing.
Exactly.
I think it's dangerous just riding it around San Francisco. But I think the more people you can get doing these things and having fun and telling others about how much fun it was, and you keep saying that it's easy. It didn't seem easy to me, and we were just tooling around at 25 miles an hour. It was maximum concentration every minute of every day. And the minute you take your eyes off the road, even on a little paved section, there's a pothole that could blow your tire. So you do have to pay attention all the time.
We don't have any potholes in Ensenada. I'm sorry. But
no, we don't have any in San Francisco either. There's not a single pothole. So, what I do want to talk about, you mentioned the Vespas, and I really think that's a phenomenal thing. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Scott Topher and Hayden Roberts, who came out here on the Triumph motorcycle. Hayden was on the Triumph, and Scott was on the BSA. And I just thought that was a really terrific throwback to the old Baja sleds, and when guys just jumped on bikes and came down here and rode all, and drank beer at night and rode hard all day. And I thought those two guys were really cool with really great looking bikes. And how can you get more of that happening?
Well, I got news for you. Also, remember that back in the day it was Norton bikes versus Triumph bikes in basically every competition. So due to Triumph being down here, it fired up Norton and his new ownership to think about Baja. And one of the riders that came down from England, he got in touch with us and said, I think I got Norton interested in coming down and competing against Triumph on the classic bikes category. So we might get a surprise for the NORRA 1000 this year, and we might have both factory riders somehow competing against each other like back in the day.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Well, I thought that Hayden and Scott really had the right approach and great-looking bikes, and I think that including the old machinery, at least to me, makes it much more exciting. So let's transition now and talk a little bit about the category that I was in, the Savvy Safari class. So
I'm going to turn the AC on.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about the Savvy Safari class. Kurt Leduc looked after us in his. He drove a Jeep. Well, I think there were four Jeeps and a modern Ranger that Gerald Lee was driving from Savvy, the class sponsor, and then I was in my old Land Cruiser. Any modern four-wheel drive, whether it's a Land Cruiser or a 4Runner or any modern four-wheel drive, a Land Cruiser, a 4Runner, a modern Jeep vehicle, anything with a little bit of ground clearance and four-wheel drive should be able to do the event just fine.
Yes, that's the whole idea. I think that basically any vehicle should be able to do it because of the roads. I know what you say when you say it's not easy. Because they're open roads and some of them are rough, but we try to look for the best options for people to be able to do it. So I do think that any vehicle is capable of doing this event. Like you said, the Vanagons are somehow registered, and they are always some kind of competitive against them. And it's not a really slow car. So you get the Porsches. Also, we had a Triumph, also with Lemon Scherer and Andy Myers to race it.
That was a TR2 or a TR3?
I think it was a TR2.
Yeah, it looked very much like a car that I raced against some Belgians in 2006. It was very, very fast, same colors. And I thought, did they just retool that to do this off-road event?
That's what it was, yes.
That's great. It's a really cool-looking vehicle. And I think I saw it on Petrolicious, actually.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's Baja. It's remote, it's challenging, but we always try to make it easy for you guys to come down and be able to enjoy. You mentioned the Baja XL event, and in my opinion, I don't really like the way these guys are doing the event because they just forget about the people that's entered, and they just fly from the start to the finish and say, "I'll see you guys in Cabo." And bye-bye. You do what you can do, and if you don't make it, I'm sorry. On that same trip where I met you, we met a few buggies coming back all disappointed because they were left alone in Baja and nobody took, nobody cared about it.